Well, imagine, if you will, a small hut at the top of Sutton Bank, sometime just before and just after the First World War. Thank you very much, sir. Very handsome of you. Don't you fret, sir. A lot of cars boil up on this hill. You got round the bend, that's good. It's when the south wind is blowing, you see, because the wind's coming from behind you and it doesn't cool the radiator, and then you boil up. Just wait and it'll cool down so the motor's hot enough to make toast. Yes, I've met Mr. Albert Howes, you're sure you'll know him, the very first man in Yorkshire to have a car. Drove round the whole of Yorkshire for the Evening Post. I've shaken his hand, that I have. You should have seen the stock, the horses, the sheep, the cattle, running about like lunatics, because they'd never heard of anything so strange as a motor vehicle. It can be surprisingly busy up here, you know, sir. I mean, I know there's no big towns, just Thirsk and Emsley, but when we have the great big light car and motorcycle rallies, they're called, every May, thousands of people come. You'd be amazed, and it gets very busy then. It's what they call a freak hill climb. This one, and Blue Bank, and Chimney Bank, and Wasp Bank, all in Yorkshire, all freak hill climbs they are. Sometimes they do them all in the same day. So it's very busy. It's very good for tips, but it ruins my road, it does. And I have to go out with a pickaxe and shovel and put it all to rights and pick up all the litter. It takes me weeks. And the fumes, they make me quite ill. The smell on the day, and the thousands of people leave litter and all sorts of other things I don't want to mention. But anyway, so it's good for me. It gives me good money. The carts, though, they need the ruts because it slows them down. Whereas the cars, the motor cars, automobiles as they call them, they don't like the ruts. Bits fall off, especially the brakes, because they're on the outside and it's a very stupid place to put a brake, if you ask me. Well, the best cars, if you don't mind my saying so, because I've learnt a lot in these years, the best cars for this hill is the Morgan and the Aero 3. They'll get up here in 2 minutes, which I think is very good. But sometimes these foreign cars, like the French Voiturette, that's a good car, and the Bugatti, that made me laugh, that got up here quick as a lickety-split. But as it was on fire when it got to the top, I don't think it should count. But he was a strange man. He drove to Helmsley as fast as he could to blow the flames out. It's one way of putting the flames out, I suppose, but I don't think it's the best advised. One year the authorities banned the race because there's so many people coming, but the young gentleman came just the same, and the hill was as crowded as ever. Another year there was so much rain, the mud was so thick, oddly enough we had to get horses to pull them all out the mire, because down the bottom of the hill they have to bring their petrol in cans on with horse and cart anyway. Oh, the kettle's boiling, so would you like some tea? It's fresh today, the milk and everything. I looks after this place. It really belongs to the General Post Office, but I keep the fire in and I'm always here with a can of castor oil for the cars, you see, and a can of fresh water for the radiators. And that's why we have some nice cups, sir. Fresh milk. While the lads are out posting and collecting the mail from Thirsk, I looks after the place. Oh, I've been doing it 30 years, sir. Bill Worsley's my name. I work for Sutton under Bank Parish, Sutton under Whitestone Cliff, they call it. But mostly I stays up here in my hut. 30 years I've been doing this job. Of course, I only work up to this bend. The Revo lads take it down to Helmsley. That's their job. Yeah, it's quite good for the tips. As I say, oh, Roadman, they say, will you give us a push? And I will for a bob or two. But that steep part, the motorbikes are best. They have to pedal a bit sometimes, but they can almost always get up. Now, Mr. Phillips, was it 1912, 1913, one of them, he rode up and down this hill 100 times in a day. And he only stopped 3 times for petrol and a puncture or two. And he did 190 miles. And you know, that motorbike never boiled up once. I was really impressed at that. Now, the first crash, let me see. The first crash was Major Stewart of Pocklington, 1906. He had a Chelmsford steam-driven omnibus. What a title. Speedy, simple, sure, strong. That kind of phrase was what they used. Well, the chauffeur, he got to the top, he looked at the hill and he didn't fancy driving down it at all. And the Major said, no, I'll drive down. He drives down, what happens? On the bend, he crashes, turns it over. Luggage scattered everywhere. Well, it was a steam car, you see, so it had an oil burner in the front. Of course, it caught fire. Mrs. Stewart, she was shooken up a bit. Spent 3 weeks in hospital. But the Major and the chauffeur, they stayed and took pictures. So that was the first big crash I can remember. Oh, and we have some fun sometimes, sir, because it's a long, slow bank, you know. And old Joe, he was coming back from Thirsk Market. He'd gone to sell cattle or something, and he was, he might have had one or too many in the 3 tons of one of them golden fleece. I can't say, but anyway, he's dozing along. It's a hot day. It's a long trip, and of course he falls asleep on the hill, and the horses just stop, because unless they're pushed, they ain't going to pull anything up that hill. So we goes down, we chock the wheels. And as it was so hot, we took the horses out their traces and took them off for some water. Of course, he was snoring away like a thunderball. And of course, when he wakes up, there he is, marooned on the hill. We thought that was a grand day. So there you are, sir. Bit of water, it's cooled down now. Drop of castor oil. She'll see you right to Helmsley. There's a blacksmith there who'll sort it out, I'm sure. Happy to oblige, sir. Thank you very much, sir.